would be lying to you if I did say that, you know what, no one will ignore, everyone will take you exactly as you are. That's a lie. People will judge you. Hey fam, welcome back to my channel. As you may have seen in my most recent video, I launched a new series this month. It's going to be called Honest Work Conversations. And today's video is my first episode, we can call it, in this series. So today's topic is going to be focused on, can you bring your whole self to work? Because this is something that a lot of companies, a lot of firms are really pushing at the workplace, like, bring your whole self to work. But can you really? So I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on this, and also based on my own experience having worked for the last 6 years. So yeah, feel free to engage with me in the comments. Let me know at your workplace, or at least from your experience, if you've worked at a number of organizations. Has this really been the case? Is it just, a tick box thing, something that's just for show, but really how things are on the ground are quite different? But yeah, let's get into it. So for me, in summary, I'm going to be discussing 3 key points, but in summary, I think the answer is yes and no. So this is purely based on my experience working here in the UK. It may be completely different depending on your country or your type of organization, your size of organization, and I guess how inclusive your workplace is. But yeah, maybe before I dive into the 3 points, I think something that's worth calling out is definitely the workplace is a lot more inclusive than it used to be. Therefore, I think you can definitely bring your whole self to work a bit more, but whether the whole bit is factually correct, in my opinion, no. So I think you can bring yourself to work to an extent, but we can't ignore some of the dynamics of the workplace. And I'm going to be just calling out 3 key points so that I don't rumble on this topic. And to keep myself on track, I will be checking some of the things that I jotted down. But the first one being, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, to an extent. So the reason why I'm starting off with this one, when you join a workplace for the first time, something I've done and something I've seen working, you want to learn how things work before you really, you want to test the waters. You want to know, how do people actually behave in this company? Now, it doesn't mean that you exactly fall in line because, you want to be part of the crowd. You can be different, but be different when you're informed versus just being different and then you're just standing out for all the wrong reasons. So I would definitely say you want to test the waters and then see what part of your whole self you want to bring, because not all your entities or facets are applicable or will be accepted. And I would be lying to you if I did say that, you know what, no one will ignore, everyone will take you exactly as you are. That's a lie. People will judge you. And there are things you want to be judged on because you know what, they make you you. And that's kind of a bit of my second point, so I won't deviate too much. So I'll give you an example. Both the organizations I've worked for, there definitely has been this push for you to talk about your achievements, shout about your achievements, to be honest. And it was something I had to really adjust to, especially in my first few years of work. I just thought, you know what, I just need to work. Like the type of culture I've been brought up in, like when I grew up in Kenya, you don't necessarily, being boastful is something that's frowned upon. You don't want to be calling out what you've achieved, though we should be doing more of that because if we don't, who will? So it wasn't natural for me to not, like when I see a director or a partner, I'm there like, I've done this, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. Like I just kind of expect them to know that I'm a good worker anyway. I mean, my manager says so why don't you know about it? But that's not how it works. So whether you're, because I consider myself an extroverted introvert. So depending on the circumstances or the occasion, I may be extroverted or introverted, depends. It depends. So at the workplace is one of the places where I'm very reserved for sure. And shouting about my achievements is something I had to adjust and find my way of doing things. So just because people, let's just put it like this, people shout about their achievements. That's how they climb the ladder. That's how people get whatever acknowledgements or rewards at the workplace. Now, you don't have to do it the way everyone else does it. So that's where your authenticity comes in. What's authentic to you that still fulfills what the requirement is? And for me, it was through doing specific, we call it PD. So that's additional extracurricular activities that you do. That in that way, because I'm doing those things, people then get to know me some way, somehow, without necessarily being like logging on a call and being like, I did this, all these great things I've done. But I'd rather, the whole like work with me, experience working with me, and you'll get to know how good I am without necessarily shouting about it, but I kind of am. So I don't know if that makes sense. So you can find your way of achieving what people expect of you without necessarily feeling like you're going too much out of your comfort zone. But honestly, you will at times have to come out of your comfort zone, especially close to those year-end performance reviews where you need to do a bit of a tour campaign, talking to the leads about what you do. But it doesn't have to be, try and find the channel or medium that works for you, because there is a way in it that will be authentic to you. All right, a second point I wanted to call out. What's important to you, never lose. So as much as, yes, the Romans do this thing, you don't have to do 100% of it. There's certain things that just make you you, and you would not be you if you don't do them. Identify what those are that are super important to you and keep them. Now, I guess the main thing being, in my perspective, identify what that 1, 2, 3, like you don't need to. Don't bring your whole self to work without being informed, as I said, number one. And then number two is just more like, what's really, because some things maybe we may be fighting. You may be fighting an unnecessary fight, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. I'll give you an example because it's always easier to put it into practice. For me, natural hair is my thing. Like, I know a lot of even, friends, colleagues who can never go to an interview with a natural hair or braids because they know the microaggressions that come with that, like just being automatically judged as a certain way. To me, I don't care. If I'm going to miss the job because you don't like my hair, it's okay. You are not for me. That's just something that I feel strongly links to my heritage, me being a Kenyan in the diaspora, basically. There's just things that I've never, like in my whole life growing up, not had natural hair. I think it's only in uni where I tried out some things and it didn't work out. So clearly I quickly reverted back to natural hair. So you take me as I am when it comes to that. That's just something that I will not compromise on because it's super important to me. Now, there are many other things that make me Kenyan, just Kenyan tendencies, but will I bring them fully to the workplace? Maybe not. So you just pick and choose which battle you're going to fight and you're willing to fight on and run with it. My last point for today, and I kind of hinted at it somehow, a bits and bobs in between, is don't wear your heart on your sleeve. Don't be someone who everyone can just read from start to end, like how you are exactly, especially when it comes to your personal life, your social life. You kind of want to, it will be safer to adopt two personas. Have a work persona, have your personal self, except for the bits that are super important that you need to maintain in both your personas. Now, what I'm trying to say is if you're a 10, pipe down to a 6. Like, don't be a 2 because that wouldn't be the real you, but don't be a 10 every day of the year at work. Because whether you like it or not, you are not a sole entity in this organization. You are part of a team. You do need to gel with the team dynamics. And a normal team will allow you to be yourself to an extent, but do not, as I said, pick your battles. Like, you can be here being your times 10. I'll give an example because, as I said, with each point, I will give an example. I'll give an example of myself because that's what's most relatable to me. So I am accused of being very blunt. I normally am this by people close to me, friends, family. So I am super blunt. I don't know how to sugarcoat things. So if I'm thinking something, you will know it. And can I bring that to work? I will probably fight with everyone if I did that. So because of that, I need to pipe down. I need to find politically correct ways to say how I'm feeling, to still be opinionated because that's valued. That's part of why I have been hired to be able to contribute and not a soldier, like just being following orders, being able to question where necessary. But I also need to be very careful not to seem like I'm challenging authority or like looking down on people under me. So you see, like that's me having to adjust. Now, do you get it right every time? No, you don't. So knowing, but being self-aware is super important. And for you, it might be something else. You may be a people pleaser. That means your calendar is, or rather your workload is times 1,000. Is that sustainable? No, it's not. You start dropping the ball in certain areas, and that negatively affects your performance. So there are many different things that you as a person, it's just how you are. Now, that's not a good enough excuse to bring that to the workplace. You do need to pipe down or pipe up depending on what the situation is. So I'm interested to know from your end, what are some of the things you feel you can't bring to the workplace, and therefore can you really bring your whole self to work? Or what are things that you bring to the workplace and you genuinely feel that I bring my whole self to the workplace? This is going to be an interesting conversation, and I'm keen to know what your thoughts are on this. Looking forward to the next one. I will be aiming to drop a video at least every other week, if not every week. So yeah, I'm super passionate about this topic. So yeah, suggest other topics that you want in this series, and see you on the next one. Bye.